I have to find pieces of a crystal to carry on. I think the one for this world is in that castle. A simple explanation for something I sense was much more convoluted was when it did commence, Sakura said with a sidelong glance. The filly shook her head. It's my fault this is happening. My teacher said it was doing an experiment, and I messed it up. Accidents happen, as I know well. Think of that hole into which I fell, the striped equine replied, her deep voice carrying a trace of humor and understanding. Sweetie looked at her guide. Sakura, I think I killed Twilight, my teacher. She was turned into crystal and then broken into little pieces. The zebra stopped and looked back at Sweetie, a serious expression in her face. Magic works in mysterious ways. The zebra and unicorn turned it into an obscuring haze. If it's Twilight's fragments that you seek, perhaps to the magic itself you will speak. Whatever you do, even if you feel torn, mistakes and sorrow you must not scorn. As good or bad as things can get, misery and self-pity brings only regret. Why should I be happy? I killed my teacher! That you don't know, I can tell. So give yourself a chance for a spell. That sounds so Jamaican. Easier said than done, Sweetie muttered. The zebra smiled back at the filly. Indeed it is so, but the trick I've found is for the best to expect, even if the worst is bound. She winked at the unicorn as Sweetie groaned but smirked. What kind of advice is that? Advice, the zebra noted, is a form of nostalgia. Dispensing it is a way of fishing the past from the disposal, wiping it off, painting over the ugly parts, and recycling it for more than it's worth. Wow! The unicorn shook her head as she mulled over the words. That was kind of depressing. She frowned. And it didn't even rhyme. It didn't rhyme. Oh man, it really is April Fool's Day. The trolls just keep coming out. The zebra laughed. A fair wiser pony than I once told that to me. To say it's wrong, a disservice it would be. I'll try and remember that, Sweetie said, smiling despite herself. And she sighed. Sakura, what should I do if I lied and hurt a friend? The zebra didn't even look over her shoulder. Ponies lie and protect their feelings, often ignoring the damage they cause in their dealings. But I already hurt her. Even if I don't lie again. Sweetie, I can see your regret, and your friend, I'm sure, will that reflect. She might forgive you, or she might not, but lies should not be where you throw your lot. They reached a river and Sakura slowly stepped through. Is Stephen Magnet going to be here? Because I love him. The water felt cool, but good to Sweetie's hooves, and she sighed in relief as it seemed to wash away her worries. She sighed bitterly. I wish everything could just be carried away by that current. We should hurry now, Sweetie Belle, Sakura called from the far shore. The castle's there, as you can tell. I love this voice. Sweetie blinked and nodded, following the zebra out of the river and once more into the forest. They walked in silence most of the way. At one point Sakura made quieting noises with her hooves and moved to the side into the undergrowth. They watched in silence as the large creature walked past them, the body of a lion with bat wings and a scorpion tail. That's just like the manicore Sis and the others faced, Sweetie thought in awe of the size and ferocious look of the creature. Once it was gone, Sakura waited a little bit longer before guiding her back to the trail. Some creatures with nasty tempers we should evade, lest their anger and hunger make our chances fade. Eventually they reached the old bridge. Thank you, Sakura, Sweetie said, giving the surprised zebra a hug. You're always so helpful. The striped horse chuckled. I wish other ponies would see it that way. It's hard to imagine their opinion will sway. Sweetie shook her head. It will happen. When we see each other again, I might not remember you. I would like to be your friend. The zebra blinked at this, but her smile was warm as she nodded. Friendship is special and something to treasure. To have one with you, dear child, would be my pleasure. The filly nodded as she cantered over the bridge and onto the other side, of the castle walls that crumbled in most areas. All I need to do is find the fragments in there. She turned away with Sakura, but the zebra was gone. Oh my god, how much longer is this? The castle had been huge once upon a time, but now the battlements were nothing but a pile of rocks. The walls more than the memory. The castle itself was mostly intact, or at least recognizable. Sweetie's eyes roamed the area in search of a clue. She knew the elements had been broken apart in the tower. But which one? Why couldn't Sis's story have been more specific? Sweetie Belle huffed. She trotted around the castle trying to connect the buildings with the descriptions her sister had given her. Eventually she found her way to the courtroom, where she could see the stained glass window her sister and the others had described. And there before her was the broken throne in the place where, in her world at least, Twilight and her friends had defeated Nightmare Moon. She looked carefully around, her eyes scanning cracks in the wall, torn curtains, even the broken stained glass window. So, You would just leave without even saying goodbye? Sweetie had been concentrating so much on her search she hadn't even heard the group that came to the room after her. She sputtered. Twilight! The purple unicorn looked at her sadly as Nyra Moon, Sunny Applebloom, and Skulu stood next to her. I heard about your fight, sweetie. But are you sure running away is the best thing to do? Unicorn Filly looked away. I just don't want any pony to hate me. I don't want to do all of this alone. So you really are from another world, Nyra Moon said, walking up to her and looking at the unicorn in the eye. That's how you knew. She trailed off when Sweetie saw her eyes shift to the moon emblem. Yeah, the filly sighed. The alicorn smirked, but left it at that. Sweetie, regardless of the circumstances, you shouldn't have come here alone, Twilight said after a moment. What would you have done if something happened to you? How do you think we would feel? I don't know, Sweetie retorted, looking at the group angrily. Who cares anyway? I'll just find the fragment and get out of your mane. Maybe I'll even get a return home. Twilight sighed as she was about to reply when Skulu stepped forth. Sweetie, I'm sorry I got so angry with you. It just really hurt to find out you were lying to me. The unicorn filly stubbornly scratched the floor, tiny tears on the edge of her eyes betraying her emotions. She was about to reply when she was suddenly being hugged by Applebloom. I know you gotta go, sweetie. I know we really just got to know each other today. At least I did. I'm gonna miss you anyhow, Applebloom said. Skulu was also suddenly hugging her. Don't be stubborn, sweetie, she begged, burying her face in the unicorn's mane. Let's not say goodbye like this. I don't want you to go away with us being angry with each other. Sonia soon joined the hug. That's right! You're all my friends now. I don't want to see you angry. I'm sorry I lied, came Sweetie's muffled reply, and it seemed as if the whole group relaxed with just those words. Nyra Moon walked up to Twilight as both adults watched the group hug in mild amusement. Sweetie looked at them and smiled. It was then that she noticed it. A slight purple glow near the lowermost corner of the stained glass window. Slowly she disentangled herself from the group and made her way there. Her magic levitated the crystal as every pony gathered around it. Is that a piece of me? Twilight asked, staring at the crystal as it slowly spun around inside Sweetie's levitation spell. Sweetie nodded. My Twilight, she smiled warmly. So this really is goodbye, Skulu said, scratching the back of her head with her hoof. She looked down. I'll miss you. Sweetie shook her head. You'll still have your own, Sweetie. Yeah, but I will miss the one I got to know now, the Pegasus smirked. You both are crazy, but she's even more stubborn than you are. Sweetie laughed as she gave the Pegasus a short hug. She's not. Just give her time. Applebloom suddenly looked nervous. I don't want to lose a friend I just made. We'll always be friends, Sweetie replied, hugging the Earth Pony for a few seconds. We became best friends in my world, so I'm sure this will happen again. Stoney stepped up to the unicorn filly and gave her a quick hug. It was really fun. If you visit again, we should start another prank war. Sweetie nodded as her eyes turned to the adults. Twilight nodded at her, but then her eyes opened wide. Oh my! I completely forgot about this. She levitated the scroll that Spike had produced earlier and gave it to Sweetie Belle. It's for you. The filly blinked and opened the scroll. She started reading, and as the words sank in, her eyes grew wider and wider. I passed? That's what it says! Twilight nodded with a bright smile. I'm sure they will be disappointed when you can't make it, but be sure to show that to my other self when you see her again, okay? Sweetie nodded happily as she started jumping around Twilight. I passed! I passed! Yes! Yes, 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 I did it! Nyra Moon chuckled and the filly stopped, looking around her, completely embarrassed. I think I should go. Sweetie's horn lit up as her notebook materialized. She opened it and smoothed out the acceptance letter until it was flat, then fitted it between pages. When she dismissed it, the scroll disappeared too. I hope this works, she said worriedly as she made the notebook reappear. The scroll was safely tucked between the pages. Sweetie let out a sigh as she sent it away again. Well, this is it. Goodbye, every pony. She looked at the gathered group as her horn started glowing. When she was about to absorb the energy from the fragment, she paused. Nightmare Moon? The alicorn blinked. What is it, sweetie? What does Twilight taste like? Why the fuck would she want to know that? What the fuck? The queen ignored the sputtering purple unicorn to her right as she smiled. Like blueberries. Very tangy. Oh, my God, Wander D, you are a pimple on the butt of life, I swear. Ah, Oh, good to know. Yeah, fucking right. Wait, sweetie! Twilight raised a hoof, but it was too late. The fragment shone with a bright purple light that enveloped the Phileas as it slowly faded away. The light remained for a few seconds, and then it was gone. Sweetie Belle slumped to the floor, confused and dazed. She shook her head. What? Where am I? She looked up and noticed Night Moon and a unicorn she didn't know staring at her. Ah! I have one big concern over all of this, the purple unicorn confessed to the group of ponies as she watched the unicorn fully scream. What? Scoodloo asked. How am I going to explain all this to Rarity? Ah! Oh my god. Well, Sweetie's back. Inside a stage wagon in a small town in the middle of Equestria, a certain showmare stared at the scroll that had just popped up in front of her. She had a little dragonfire contraption she used to keep in contact with a few ponies, but she hadn't ridden any pony recently, and she had no idea why Nyma Moon's School for Gifted Unicorns would send her a letter. Shrugging, she levitated the scroll and opened it, reading the contents aloud out of habit. Dear Great and Powerful Trixie, as Head Supervisor of Missions, it is my pleasure to inform you that your apprentice, Sweetie Belle, has been accepted to study at a prestigious institution that should she choose to do so. Although we are not aware you are in Ponyville anymore, that your training of the young unicorn is over, we felt you would like to be one of the first to know of her success. Yours truly, Passing Grade. What a horrible OC name. Trixie stared at the scroll, rereading it silently a couple of times. Finally, with a confused blink, she let it rest on her desk. Only one thing crossed her mind. What the hey? Yeah, really. About sums up this story. Well, this chapter, at least. Where's the Full Metal Jacket pony? I miss him. He was awesome. Somewhere, far beyond the worlds and universes, in the deep darkness, an eye opened, radiating with an inner light. It looked around the vastness around it until it seemed to spot something. Its will concentrated as a voice as old as a star rumbled. Oh God, what the hell is this? Desertris in mea torno edis ardis, et in obscura tidis capitis est. The fuck? Wherever it was she had arrived, it was dark. Sweetie tried to make sense of where she was, and illuminated the area around her with a horn as her magic coursed through it. She finally recognized the place as her room in the Carousel Boutique. With a twist of magic, she lit up her lamp to see better. The things seemed odd. They appeared to have shrunken. She looked around. Her bed was smaller. Her desk. What were those posters doing there? And that tea set? It was all too small. She passed in front of her dresser again. Too small. Giving it a little thought and carried out into the door. Is she a mirror now? Then she stopped. She ran back to the dresser and looked in the mirror. Her eyes widened and her jaw fell slack. The room to the door was suddenly kicked in as Rarity came in, wielding a poker in her magical grasp. How dare you break into my... She blinked and dropped the poker, staring at Sweetie Belle. Bah! She sputtered. Sweetie! You... But you're dead! Whoa! Holy shit! So now in this world, Sweetie Belle's supposed to be dead. What the fuck? Wanderer D, you really outdid yourself. That was really funny and really weird and really... what? I just have one regret, and I hope you listen to this, Wanderer D. I want more of the Sergeant pony, or the Full Metal Jacket pony as I call. I just want to find those lines and read it once more. Yeah, I'm gonna... This is what they sent me! A waste of my time! You are not fit to be here! You are not worthy of being here! You are nothing! Why are you here? Stand straight, maggot! You were sent here to learn, so make sure you don't waste my time! What the hell are these? You call these wings? I call them feather dusters, 'cause that's all those wings are good for, since you can't even hover! Jump! I said jump! That's yes, Drill Sergeant, to you, maggot! And you call that a jump? I've seen dead lizards jump higher! So yeah, more of that pony, Wanderer D, if that's at all possible. Just an entire alternate universe with Sweetie Belle. Okay. In an upcoming chapter, Sweetie Belle has to go to a universe with the only characters involved are her and that pony right there. There's going to be a multitude of Sergeant of the Royal Pegasi Unit's drill sergeant clones. Just like thousands of them. I love reading in that voice. So, make my day. Please do that for me. Either way, thank you guys for listening and watching. This was a great chapter. And apparently I've been warned by a subscriber. This chapter was supposed to be funny, and he was right. It was funny. But he warned me the next one is sad. And, well, apparently Sweetie Belle's supposed to be dead, so I can see why it would be sad. So I look forward to reading the next chapter. Until next time, thank you guys for watching and listening, and I will see you later.